Now, I want to go back to 1984 because that's the year that it was a big year for the Mac. It's also a year that some people point to as the start of when computers started being marketed more towards men than women. And actually, the numbers of women in computer science jobs and computer science courses actually started dropping. And I wonder, what was it like being a female engineer in 1984?
It was a rarity. I think it was one of those things where I felt it was sort of a mixed view. I felt a deep kinship to other women engineers. I think to this day, I feel like it has shaped who I am as a woman leader and a woman engineering leader in the tech industry. And I think the other thing that it taught me, or I think it brought to light, I would say, is the fact that if you're confident, it's very important to have self-confidence. People notice you. And I think these two things, either I learned them because I had to survive very tough environments, or I learned them because that was the only way to work. I don't know, but it's something that I feel have been profound life lessons for me.
Do you think that's something that set you apart from other women who were doing it? I mean, because obviously you survived.
I can't say whether it did or didn't. It helped me, and like I said, to date, I feel like I need to give back, and I help a lot of women, especially women engineers who look for advice or who are trying to make that decision: do I stay? How do I grow my career? What are the things I need to do? For me, I didn't have a lot of that back then because there were no one who was reaching out and sharing their experiences. So I wish I had that.
Did you ever feel that you needed to act more like a man to be successful?
Where I first joined the workforce, people wouldn't take me seriously because I either looked too young or was too young, or I wore bright colors, and I started working. I came from India. I love
I've seen you wearing saris,
big jewelries and saris and stuff. I love bright colors, and so I had to hide all that away for the first few years when I was working. And I would wear only black and gray to work every day, and I would wear sneakers to work. I love shoes, and I couldn't wear shoes. So all these things that I actually had nothing to do with my job or what I was doing as an engineer, but it was just, I was afraid to be who I was, who I wanted to be, and so I absolutely did that. Actually, when I became CTO for Motorola, I wanted people to take me more seriously. So I went to the extreme extent of making my hair, I would color my hair gray just so I would look older. Can you believe
really?
it? And now I do the opposite. But
did you ever feel like you were treated unfairly?
I do feel people, I think, don't expect you to be competent. Somehow, there's always this doubt, and people are always skeptical. When I have had situations where I feel like people are being skeptical about my title or what I'm doing because I'm a woman, and it's hard to describe it. It's not blatant. It's not overt, but I did sense it.
Is it fair for me to ask you how you balanced your work and your family life? Or is it not fair to ask you that question?
So I actually think it's fair to ask anyone that question, both men and women. I think, men who have young children go through the same thing. The challenge always is if you're a parent, how do you balance having a career and having a family? I actually feel like the word balance somehow suggests that everything has to be perfect. Like your home has to be perfect, your work has to be perfect. I use the word integration. You have to be aware of the things that are important to you and figure out how you integrate the aspects that are important to you. When my son was young and I had a very busy career, actually, I was running a factory. I had operational responsibility 7/24. And my son was a baby, an infant, and so I would be like constantly stressed out. And I learned that I needed to take time for myself. And now I meditate every day. That's sort of my time for myself. I paint when I can on Saturdays and weekends. So whatever it is that you feel you need to do to energize yourself and get your creative juices flowing again, you have to do that.
So what's your assessment of the state of women in Silicon Valley today, whether it's big tech, VC, startups? Because in many ways, there's been small progress, but in some ways we've actually gone taken several steps
Yeah,
back.
yeah, it's very disappointing. I think I do feel we haven't made any progress. We need to make a lot more progress. I think, it's heartening to hear people talk about it now more openly. It's not so hush-hush anymore. It's okay to say that it's a problem. And people are acknowledging it's a problem and figuring out what we need to do. But I don't think we've seen any results yet or movement yet.
Why haven't we seen progress?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know. I don't know whether we're all just saying things but not really going to doing things to change. So maybe there's an opportunity for all of us to work together to figure out how we address this. I often take time out of my day to go speak at every single tech company. I've spoken at Microsoft, at Intel, at Qualcomm, when I was at Cisco, at Ericsson even. I think perhaps we need to really think about as an industry what are the things we need to do.
You have an opportunity at NextEV to build a diverse workforce from the ground up. What are you doing to build your own culture and a strong company from the beginning?
So I've already hired my first woman engineer. She joined 2 days ago.
Congratulations.
She's amazing. I've already hired the head of my corporate development is a woman, and she's a Stanford grad, and she joined 3 days ago. So she's now on my staff and my leadership team. So I'll continue to do that. I want to have a very diverse team. Have more women, but I also want to have the team I want to build, I want it to be multicultural, multiple domains, and I want to attract people from the auto industry, people from non-auto industry to work together, and multi-generational, so it will be a very diverse team.